So this is actually going to be a final update in this story. We're going to talk about this little angel that you guys see on my screen. And what her mother did to her, I felt like she did it out of jealousy and definitely a lot of hate involved here. So I think that any time that people do stuff like this against kids, I think it deserves a life sentence. We didn't quite get there with regard to the verdict here, but nonetheless, we're going to talk about what happens to her as far as her sentencing, and let's hope that this thing doesn't mess up again, okay? So here we go. Let me give you guys a disclaimer, and then we'll go from there. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. And I'm getting this story from courttv.com. I don't always use their source, but I think they did really good here, so shout out to them. So Wayne, Michigan. A Michigan mother was sentenced up to 50 years in prison. So, of course, that doesn't necessarily mean she's going to get 50 years, but up to 50 years in prison after pleading guilty to second-degree murder and child abuse in connection with the death of her 8-year-old daughter, who was that beautiful angel that you guys just saw on the screen a second ago. So this fool that you guys see on my screen, her name is Chelsea Duperon, or Duperon. She's stupid, right? She was initially charged in March of 2024 after Wayne County officers found an 8-year-old girl by the name of Lila Cassell. Her full name is Lila Lynn Cassell. Okay? Let me refresh real quick, make sure that we're good. Lila Lynn Cassell, 8 years old, was unresponsive. The officers had been dispatched to Duperon's home following reports of a child in distress. They reported finding Lila unresponsive in her bed wearing a diaper. I want you guys to catch that, okay? This baby, she's not a baby, she's 8 years old, but wearing a diaper. Okay? That already is strange in itself. Anyway, prosecutors Aaron Wilmot said the assault on Lila was brutal, as she noted that the more than 200 autopsy photos showed that there was not one spot from head to toe that was not bruised or marked on the child. Judge Therese Anderson agreed, and she found that Lila was thoroughly tortured. How do you get away, in my opinion, with second-degree murder when that seems to be intentional? I know with first-degree murder, you have to prove intent. You have to prove it beyond the shadow of a doubt. And maybe they felt like they couldn't meet that burden of proof. So we'd rather get something guaranteed. I get it, but damn, man, this is absolutely intentional. Referencing the autopsy photos, Judge Anderson said that they were the most horrific photos of an 8-year-old girl I've ever seen in my life. It was horrific. She was beaten so bad that this baby was unrecognizable. You guys catch that? And that little smirk on that, let me take that back just for a second. That little stupid smirk on this woman's face, that was the smirk that she had. She didn't care. She didn't care about her daughter at all. So I would hope that there's never anybody that when her time comes up for a clemency hearing or parole hearing or anything like that, don't go crying for this woman and hope that she can get out of prison. Because guess what? The prison that this baby was trapped in, that Lila was trapped in, this angel was trapped in, this beautiful little girl that could have grown up to become anything, that deserved the right to grow up and become something, she would never be able to escape her prison. The prison that she was given, the sentence that she was given by her mother. They said that this baby was unrecognizable, and it's unimaginable what Lila went through. It's unimaginable that she sat for 2 to 3 days in the condition she was in, and nobody thought it was prudent to give her the proper medical attention that she needed, okay? Now, Duperon's attorney, Tiffany Howell, conceded that her client did not seek medical attention for her daughter, but said that she did attempt to care for Lila's injuries. Now, I want y'all to remember, that's what defense attorneys do. They just say things that even they don't believe. They're just trying to defend their client because they know that's bullcrap. The mother initially told police that she did not call for help sooner because she believed Lila was improving. In court documents, officers described, wait a minute, let me go back. She believed that her daughter's condition was improving, but this baby was beat to a pulp to the point of being unrecognizable. And you thought that that would improve, that would get better, she would heal. In court documents, officers described the little girl's condition as severe, noting that significant swelling in her face, in her neck, and head rendered her nearly unrecognizable. Now, according to prosecutors, an autopsy revealed Lila died as a result of massive blunt force trauma to the face and head. Officers reported that the mother mentioned, quote unquote, bad spirits. I think that if you believe in spirits making you do something, causing you to do something, convincing you to do something, to hurt, murder, or abuse your kid, you shouldn't have kids, you're a stupid ass person. And I think even saying stuff like that should get you committed to a psychiatric ward on medication for the rest of your life until you pass away, in my opinion. She mentioned bad spirits during questioning and claimed that a woman had appeared out of nowhere. They also noticed that Duperon's own hands appeared to be swollen and bruising, so she beat her child to death. The mother offered a tearful statement. She was crying. Do y'all want to see her crying in court? I don't. But there were some pictures of it. Let me see if I can find one. I don't know if I saved it. Where is it at? Oh, here it go. Look at that right there. That picture right there. Y'all look at her crying. Y'all want to see the tears coming out of her eyes? Can y'all see the tears flowing? Of course you can't. Of course you can't. Because there ain't no tears flowing. There ain't no real tears flowing. She doesn't give a damn. The only thing that she cares about is the fact that she got sentenced. She got caught. She didn't get away. She got a heavy, hefty sentence. That's all she cares about. She allegedly was crying in a tearful statement at her sentencing, describing Lila as the most perfect baby, and she said, "I will never understand why this tragedy has become our reality." Okay. Her boyfriend, the mother's boyfriend, who was present during the events leading to Lila's death, was not charged. He was present during the events that led to this baby's death, and he was not charged. If he saw something and said something, then why the F ain't he charged? You witness abuse, you're required to say something, you're required to intervene, you're required to call the police. Did he not do any of that? I don't know. He acknowledged that he recognized the girl was in distress, but felt that it was the mother's responsibility to take action. It's the mother and biological father's responsibility. I think this is yet another situation that proves that when you ladies have kids and y'all have these men around y'all kids, these boyfriends, more times than none, don't care about your kids. They would rather your kids not be there. Ladies in the chat, do y'all hear me? Mothers in the chat, do y'all hear what I'm saying? They would, and I've got plenty of cases. I could do this, I don't know, permanently? I don't know. I don't know how long I can continue to keep presenting stories like this to prove my point that these men do not care about your kids in general, not all. All they care about is being with you. They deal with your kids because they only want you. Right? Okay. Judge Anderson sentenced the mother, the alleged mother, to 28 to 50 years in prison. Y'all say y'all hear me? Okay, I appreciate that. I'm glad this microphone is working. Y'all do me a favor and please hit that thumbs up. Let's share in this story. These videos are going to be real quick. Let's get it.
Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
The cool part about my channel is the fact that we've got years and years of this where we talked about things like Mom's Boyfriend, where there used to be a website called momboyfriend.com, that this was so prevalent that men just in general don't care about your damn kids. And you said he was an accessory to the crime. I think you really could make an argument for that. But maybe they didn't feel like they had enough evidence. I don't know. But y'all hit that thumbs up, leave a comment. Let me take a look at the 2 news videos. They're really short. Here we go.
When investigators arrived at a Wayne, Michigan home on March 16th, they say 8-year-old Lila Castle had been beaten so severely she was unrecognizable. Prosecutors say the girl had significant bruising and swelling to her head and neck and was unresponsive when emergency crews arrived to the scene. Lila was rushed to the hospital, where she was later pronounced dead. Now, investigators say the person responsible for her murder is 30-year-old Chelsea Renee Duperon, Lila's mother.
Really heartbreaking situation of child abuse. And the law enforcement said it was like the worst case he had ever seen of abuse of a child.
I sat down with legal analyst and attorney Dina Saig-Dahl, who says Lila's injuries were likely the result of repeated abuse.
I mean, if you get to the point where your swelling essentially makes you so unrecognizable, that definitely seems like more than just falling down the stairs. And to be quite frank, it sounds like more than just somebody using their hands. It sounds like maybe somebody using something else that's heavier to cause that kind of swelling. It sounds, for the law enforcement official to say he had never seen anything like that, it's horrible to think of what may have happened to that child, because it does sound like extreme amount of either repeated punching or somebody was using something, even worse to hit that child.
When investigators first interviewed Duperon, she told them Lila had fallen down the stairs, but quickly changed her story, saying bad spirits urged her to hurt the girl. Duperon was ultimately charged with first-degree child abuse and felony murder.
A Wayne woman now charged in connection with the death of her own daughter.
The 8-year-old was found by first responders Saturday, suffering from multiple injuries. Investigators say Lila Castle died from blunt force trauma to the head, and today her mother Chelsea Duperon is charged with her murder.
7 Action News reporter Kimberly Craig was in court when investigators laid out some of the allegations against her. She also talked to neighbors about what they thought had been going on inside the family's home.
What happened inside this home here in Wayne to 8-year-old Lila is horrifying, and investigators say it happened at the hands of her own mother.
Ms. Duperon, can you please state your name for the record?
Chelsea Duperon.
30-year-old Chelsea Renee Duperon showed no emotion as police and prosecutors detailed the horrific acts they say she inflicted on her 8-year-old daughter Lila.
The massive amount of swelling to her head and her face, she was completely unrecognizable.
Chelsea called 911 early Saturday morning to report her daughter was not breathing, and when police arrived, they say it seemed clear that the girl had been the victim of a crime with severe swelling to her head, face, and neck. And investigators say Duperon gave several stories, including that her daughter fell down the stairs and that a mystery woman came out of nowhere and hurt her little girl. But police said Duperon could not explain the bruises on her own right hand.
Officer Rhodes asked Duperon if her hands are usually swollen and bruised, and she did not respond. While the questions were being asked of Duperon, she mumbled out loud, quote, I swear to God, this is not me. This sounds crazy, but there's bad spirits. Duperon stated there was a lady, and she came out of nowhere.
Lila was just placed in a bed. Her mother went out to the store to get diapers because this child could not go to the bathroom. diapers, heating pads, Vaseline, as well as some liquor for herself, while her daughter is laying in bed dying, a slow death.
Chelsea Duperon now charged with felony murder and child abuse. Police say Duperon's boyfriend also lived here and saw the child in distress, but figured it was up to Duperon to get her help. One neighbor believes Duperon and the man were in an abusive relationship, often hearing the couple arguing.
Just yelling curse words left and right, and it's like you can hear it all the way across the street.
From the boyfriend to the mother of the child.
And to the child from the boyfriend.
Duperon now being held without bond, and she's expected to undergo a psychological evaluation at the jail. In Wayne, Kimberly Craig, 7 Action News.
Look, I want justice for these kids all the way around the board, and I think that they got this wrong. The sentence with her, that's about as good as it's going to get, from 28 to 50 years. But I think with the boyfriend, they got that wrong. For him to know that something was wrong and not be able to get him on any type of charge, something that gets him some time in prison, something to hold him accountable also, I don't think he should be off the hook for this. But then again, the primary responsibility falls on the caretaker, the primary caretaker in this case, which is the biological mother. These are biological mothers and biological fathers that continue to fail these children because they bring them into this world with no plan of trying to have any level of, stability for them. They don't come in with a plan. They just have kids and figure it out as they go. And I'm asking America to stop doing it that way. That is not healthy to bring kids into this world. You end up resenting them. You end up resenting yourselves. You resent the mate that you made them with. If you're going to do this, do it with like there should be like an off switch for people to have kids, whether it be a law or whatever. You shouldn't be able to have kids at all until you go out and go apply or go the extra mile to show that you actually want to have these children and provide the best life for them possible. Then you can have them. Now you can turn that switch on. Yes, now you can make your kids, right? These babies deserve every opportunity to grow up and become something great. And this angel, I promise you, she was definitely going to grow up and become something great. And I love her beautiful, radiant smile. So let me get my favorite picture of her back up here, which is probably this one, Lila, Young Princess, R.I.P. So we thank you guys for listening. That's going to be the conclusion of this story, the conclusion of this particular saga. But we want to continue to keep speaking for all of our children, okay? Thank you. AFC Podcast, check it out. I don't know how many of you guys are watching my videos or how long you've been watching. I would love for you to comment in the comment section. All I need y'all to tell me is how long have you been watching me? And tell me how many times have I said that men in general, not all, in general, do not need to be fathers under the age of 30 years old. That would include if you are dating a man, you should not have that man being a caretaker of your children under the age of 30 years old for a number of reasons. It doesn't guarantee anything, but I just think it increases the likelihood of success, right? So in this story, this is going to be proven true yet again. Let me give you guys the fair usage of my channel, a disclaimer, and then we'll go from there. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. And I'm getting this story from cbsnews.com, so shout out to them and thank you for the article. And yes, that is a handsome little baby. I think I've been on target with a lot of what I've been saying for a lot of years. You know, I'm coming from a counselor's perspective. You know, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I'm not the brightest crayon in the box. But a lot of the stuff that I talk about comes from my counseling experience, comes from my experience being a boyfriend around kids, comes from my experience of being a father who is now about to have 2 grown kids, right? So I've gotten a chance to live this through. So a lot of the stuff that I talk about, I'm talking to the ladies that continue to date men and put men around your kids. You like him. You love him. You like laying up underneath him, and you like what he laying on top of you and pumping and sweating, right? And you continue to put your children in danger being oblivious, maybe even purposefully. The grandmother of a 10-month-old that was killed in Pittsburgh's Homewood neighborhood is remembering him as an earth angel. Dominic Pinnick, I almost look like picnic, but Pinnick, this bastard right here, is facing a list of charges in connection with this little boy's death, this 10-month-old boy's death, including criminal attempted homicide and aggravated assault. This man is accused of slamming the boy's head into a bedpost last week, injuring the child so badly that doctors had to remove part of his skull in an attempt to save his life. And they did not and were not able to save this baby's life. Beautiful little boy. The baby's name is Najor Matthews, and I don't know what Najor means, but I like that name. And ladies, I continue to keep, especially in the black community, I continue to keep asking y'all, when you give your kids names that mean something. Don't just make up something. I always thought this would sound cool and mix this name with that name. Give your kids a name that means something, because a name that you give your kid, especially of significance, is the most important thing you can give them. And too many times when it comes to these hood mentalities, these hood boogers, these hood characteristics, you will notice that more times than none, the kids who got these effed up names are the kids that end up being effed up people. Not all, but too many. Baby Najor Matthews died on Monday. They were doing their best to be great parents to that little boy, and I just feel so bad that the opportunity was ripped from them, said Letitia Hawkins, Matthews' grandmother. Let me read that again, because I think she's being a little bit disingenuous. Do y'all want to see what the grandmother looks like? Maybe it's just because I'm getting old, but she seems kind of young. But I think that's just because I'm getting old. So the lady there in the blue pants is the grandmother, from my understanding. That's the grandmother. I think I might actually be older than her. Okay? Very possible, because I'm an old man. I'm an old fart. She said, and I quote, "They were doing their best to be parents to this little boy." And I would ask you, and I look in the camera, ma'am, because you're doing interviews. I love to have you come on here and come talk to me and explain to me, and I'll let you explain to the people. This is an open platform. If you want to call in, you can email me, theafcmatters@gmail.com. I'd love to have you on here. Rarely do I take on opportunities to just speak, just let people on here just to be just running their mouth about a story. But if you're a family member that's affected by these stories, I'd love to have you on. And shout out to Tracy Ross. Thank you for that lovely, awesome super chat, showing some love. I see you representing in the chat. Thank you. Who was doing their best to be parents to this kid? Because I'm going to prove to you in this article that I'm going to read that they knew that they were not being good parents, both of them. Okay? She said the opportunity was ripped from them, and I'm assuming she's talking about mom and the boyfriend, I guess. The 10-month-old boy was the light of his family's lives. They said he impacted them in ways they never could have imagined and called him their angel on earth. He's a beautiful little boy. He was such a gift, Hawkins said. He was so precious. He was really a gift from God. Hawkins said the family was planning the boy's first birthday party next month. He wasn't even 1 year old. But now they are forced to plan his funeral. The man police said was responsible is the 18-year-old Pinnick, the boyfriend. His full name is Dominic Pinnick, Pinnick, was the boyfriend of Matthew's mother. I want y'all to notice that they said, and I quote, the mother's boyfriend. They did not say that he is the father to this little boy. This little boy is not even 1 year old. That means this little boy was like, what, 11 months old? So how long ago was it that the mother left her last relationship, got pregnant, carried this child to term, 9 months, gave birth, and within 11 months, and how long has she been with this dude? Hold on. Did they say? How long were they together? I don't think it said. I don't know how long they were together. Let's just say 4 or 5 months. I don't think he was with her while she was pregnant. I'm going to assume after the fact. Then you got to allow for her body to heal up. So I'm going to say, what, another 6 to 8 weeks. So that's about another 2 months. So that's like 8 to 9 months roughly. If he was with them from the time, yes, he's 18 years old. Yes. I know y'all are just like, WTF. Yes. 18. What 18-year-old man or woman do y'all know should be being a parent at that age or being a step parent at that age? What 18-year-old do y'all know that is able to properly provide for themselves at that age? How many 18-year-olds do y'all know that have a job, have a career, have a house, have a car, have insurance, and are responsible for taking care of all their own bills and are now prepared to be parents? That number should be lower than a bow-legged caterpillar. Understand? There's always going to be an anomaly. There's always going to be somebody rich. There's always going to be like, well, my cousin, baby mama, daddy, sister-in-law, she had kids and she was ready at 18 years old. I'm not talking about the anomaly. I'm talking about the majority. I'm always talking about the majority. Okay? The likelihood of someone being ready to be a parent at 18 years old is not likely. This should not be happening. I'm going to assume that the mother of this boy is probably within 24 months of this man's age. So she's either his same age or she's a couple years older than him, roughly within that range. I'm not going to think that she's 25 dating an 18-year-old. I'm going to assume she's probably 18, 19, or 20 dating an 18-year-old. Because girls generally tend to look at men and be like, you need to be a provider. And they usually know that men younger than them aren't more suitable as providers. It's usually an older man who's more usually a suitable provider. Do you guys kind of get where I'm gathering this information from? For those who want to call me for bullshit on this story, okay? More time. If you wonder why I draw these conclusions, this is why. This is a horrible trend. There is no woman, no mother that should be having kids before the age of 25 years old for a number of reasons. Because if you cannot take care of yourself in the same capacity that I just described, then I'm going to even further point and say that men are less likely to be prepared at that age. And I push them forward another 5 more years. Women shouldn't be mothers under 25 years old. Men should not be fathers under the age of 30 years old. And I think that I would have been a better father or more prepared father if I were 30 years old instead of 24 when I had my daughter. I feel like that's fair. So if I point the finger out there at you or somebody else, I'm pointing the finger. Yes, I'm talking to my goddamn self. Yes, that applies to me too. That applies to my family too. That applies to my kids too. But guess what? At the age of 24, I was working, had a place to live, had a car, had insurance, had a cell phone. I was able to provide for myself and ended up being able to provide for my kids. But it was hard as shit. It took every dime I had, and I had no savings. Nothing. Every dime I had went out the door. If y'all feel like I go harder on the black community and black people, it's because I've lived this life. And I'm telling you and telling everybody out there, and praying for the girls that are my daughter's age, 17, 18, 19, 20. I'm asking y'all to listen. I'm asking you parents, if you have young girls, 18, 19, 20, 21, you can encourage them and play back my words and just know that it's coming from a counselor's perspective. It is coming from history. It is coming from a whole lot of wisdom. Wisdom is you learning from others' mistakes, right? Watching others, absorbing, and learning, and avoiding the mistakes of others. Y'all say I'm correct? Thank y'all for listening. It takes a village to raise a child. So here, let's get to this. Let me tell y'all why I believe that grandma is lying, talking about they were trying to do, they were wonderful parents. I think that's bullshit. Okay? He allegedly told investigators that he got frustrated when Matthews, the little boy, would not stop crying, so he hit his head on the wooden bedpost several times. And y'all want to tell me that he was a good parent? What good parent would think that a little baby is crying and you think, oh, yeah, let me beat the shit out of him and that'll make him stop crying? Yeah, you know what? That actually would stop a baby from crying. It'll stop all children from crying. It would stop anything living from crying. You would stop an adult from crying if you took their head and bashed it into a bedpost. Like, how freaking dumb can you be? A wooden bedpost, and you thought, yeah, this will make things better. Again, I'm talking about the stupid mentality of these fools. The baby's aunt and grandmother said that they got bad vibes from Pinnick, the boyfriend, and even vocalized that to his mother, but she loved and trusted him. I'm getting this article from CBSNews.com. I'm going to go back and read to you what the grandmother said. And then I'm going to go back and read that part again, and I'm going to see if y'all catch the contradiction. The grandmother said, Letitia Hawkins said, I quote, they were doing their best to be great parents to that little boy, and I just feel so bad that opportunity was ripped from them, quote unquote. Then you scroll down a couple sentences later, and she said, the baby's aunt and grandmother said that they got bad vibes from Pinnick and even vocalized that to his mother, but she loved and trusted him. Is that not two different things? Or am I just tripping? That seems like two different descriptions of a person. So the mom loved this man more than she loved her kid. That lets you know that the mother is a horrible person. That lets you know that the mother is a selfish person. And that lets you know this is why they didn't want to put her picture out there, or why she didn't have enough guts or enough ovaries to get out there and do an interview and speak up on behalf of her child and castigate her thug, right? Thug as in action, not a skin color, right? Because she is a selfish person. And she doesn't want people to think and look at her and judge her. Only God can judge me. Well, I told y'all about that whole judgment thing. You're supposed to have righteous judgment. You can judge, and everybody should be judged by a standard. Yes? That automatically makes her a bad mother. That automatically makes it to where she should not be able to have kids until she goes through the process, goes through training, gets her a license, which they don't require that, but I wish they did. And maybe she shouldn't be able to be a mother until she's at least 30 years old and has time to figure out that having a man that has a tumultuous relationship with you is not a good person to be bringing around your kid. Matter of fact, I don't think that if you have a kid that's under the age of 15 years old, you shouldn't be bringing your significant other around your kid. But that's just me. They said they got bad vibes about this man and the mom didn't give a crap. In addition, they said he had been alone with the 10-month-old baby before and seemed to truly care for him. My fear was that he was going to hurt my daughter, Hawkins said. I never in a million years thought he'd harm my grandson. And I'm going to let y'all hear her say this on the interview. And I'm going to say this into the camera. Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming out and saying that. I am glad that the world can see you for what you are, a hypocrite. And this is why the black community continues to keep getting black eyes on it. This is why these stories continue to suck and fill up my email, because of people like you who make excuses for everybody and don't hold anybody accountable, right? This is also a byproduct, and shout out to Tommy, by the way, of having a fatherless America. I got to give a shout out to his movie. The perfect example. A fatherless America. This is a byproduct of a fatherless America. Yes, it is. Because there is no accountability in the home. Do you think the grandmother is married? You think she's married? You think she got a man at home? Do you think that her daughter grew up with a dad in the household and understand what that dynamic looks like? Right? No, probably not. And then what did she turn around and give her kid, her son? What did she give Najur? She turned around and did not have this man in the house with her, with a ring, with a marriage, with a stable environment at a young age, and turn around and put some bullcrap man in this child's life that she don't know well enough at all. I can guarantee you she didn't even do a background check on him. This woman, and the hypocrisy is so deep. She said, and I quote, "My fear was that this man was going to hurt my daughter, not the kid. But if he doesn't want this kid in her life, because then that would give him all the access to the mom and not have nothing in between there to block that access path, why would he treat that kid good?" Why would an 18-year-old look at this baby who looks like the man that this woman just got through fucking less than 24 months ago? Why would he treat this baby special? Why would he treat this baby like his own? Knowing that he doesn't have any experience at 18 years old with being a baby dad, maybe not, but also, and hello, how you doing in the chat? Not only does he not have any experience with being a father, but he also wouldn't have any experience when it comes to being a boyfriend and being a stepfather. No experience, no training. The fact that you feared that this man might hurt or kill your daughter lets you know that she fucked up and chose wrong. She chose the thug lion at the thug zoo because she likes his behavior, because she thinks that behavior of a thug lion will attack everybody else except for her, when the true nature of a thug lion is not to be tamed. And you go take your kid to the thug zoo and the thug lion murders and mauls your baby yet again. Was Jay right? Yes, I was right. Of course I was right. The family said that they're leaning on one another to push through the tragedy, saying while the boy's birth brought them together, the death is also strengthening the bond they have even more. The family will hold a private memorial service in the coming days and a public balloon release. Please don't do a balloon release. That is stupid. Stop releasing balloons. Do a candle vigil or something else. Draw some chalk on the ground. Do something that's not going to hurt the environment. Stop releasing balloons. That's stupid. And in a lot of places, it's starting to become against the law anyway. Pinnick is held at the Allegheny County Jail, and he has no bond. He's due in court next week, and nor should he have a bond. But if y'all disagree with what I'm saying, don't bring your feelings to the table. Please don't, because I don't give a crap about it. Bring facts. Debate me with facts and tell me what I said that is factually inaccurate. All right, let's get it.
Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 USC 107.
If y'all would do me a favor, if you're watching this story, please click that thumbs up and share this. We love for more of our actual subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, sub to the channel. You can type in the chat at any point in time whenever you subscribe to the channel. We only got a couple of news videos. Here we go. Let's get it.
We want to warn you the details in this next story are disturbing. A young man is in jail tonight charged with attempted murder after police say he beat a 10-month-old baby. And investigators say they expect those charges to be upgraded because doctors do not believe the baby will survive. KDKA's Jennifer Barrezo is live outside Allegheny County Night Court where 18-year-old Dominic Pinnick faced a judge tonight. Jen.
Erica, Pinnick seemed to show no emotion. It was kind of a carefree attitude when he faced that judge at night court behind me. Now, the judge denied bond, citing the seriousness of the crime and a potential flight risk. Now, according to the criminal complaint, he admitted to slamming his girlfriend's baby boy, not once, not twice, but three or four times after getting frustrated. Just what are your thoughts when you read that he confessed?
It's sickening. You know, an adult can't have control of themselves like that, and the baby has to suffer because someone can't control themselves. It's sick.
Mom of three, Talisha Kennedy, reacting to the disturbing story that Pittsburgh police say happened in this house in Homewood. According to the criminal complaint, Dominic Pinnick admitted to slamming his girlfriend's 10-month-old baby boy's head into a bedpost, injuring the boy so badly doctors had to remove part of his skull in an attempt to save his life. Pittsburgh police say he's not expected to survive.
Terrible. And the baby might not survive. Very unfortunate.
Court paperwork say Friday just after 4, Zone 5 police officers responded to this house on Kedron Street for a report of an infant falling from a bed. The child's parent got a call from Pinnick. He said he was standing outside talking to two people when he heard a loud thud and the baby crying. In a police interview, Pinnick confessed and told investigators he heard cries, found the baby on the floor on the side of the bed and wouldn't stop crying. He got frustrated, walked around the bedroom and hit the child's head approximately 1 or 4 times on the wooden canopy bedpost in the bedroom. Pinnick said he aggressively placed the child on the bed and rocked the baby, and that he grabbed the child and rubbed the back of the baby's head. At one point, he put the baby in the shower. Pinnick said when he put the baby on the bed, he also struck his head on the headboard. When he saw the baby's limp body, he called 911 for help. The baby was rushed to Children's Hospital. Doctors told police the baby's injuries were not consistent with a fall, but were consistent with abusive head trauma and violence. The doctor said the baby has one large skull fracture, numerous retinal hemorrhages, which are consistent with violent shaking. The baby also appears to have multiple impact strikes to his chest and a possible arm fracture.
The biggest punishment possible. You know, I really don't want to. You can just imagine.
Right now, Pinnick is charged with criminal attempted homicide and 3 counts of aggravated assault, among other charges. Erica?
Jen, I understand you talked to a family member of that baby tonight.
Yeah, so we stopped by at the house and I met a man who is the uncle of the baby boy, and you can imagine he was distraught, he was upset, and he didn't want to talk on camera, but at this point he just said the family is just in complete shock. Erica?
All right, Jen, thank you so much. Right now at 5:30, the grandmother of an infant killed in Homewood last week is speaking out for the first time about her family's heartbreak. And
now I want y'all to listen to this. Listen to this interview that Grandma gives. Please listen to her words. I'm not going to interrupt it unless I have to. I'm gonna try to let it play all the way through. Please listen to her words. The one in the blue pants. Listen to this.
their quest for justice. Police say the man entrusted to care for 10-month-old Nijor Matthews while his mom stepped away to run some errands is responsible for his death. I'm Erica Stanish.
And I'm Ken Rice. KDK's Shelley Bort sat down with the grandmother. It's a story you'll see only on KDKA.
They were doing their best to be great parents to that little boy. And I just feel so bad that that opportunity was ripped from them.
Nigel Matthews was the light of his family's lives. In his short 10 months of life, they say he impacted them in ways they could have never imagined. They called him their angel on earth.
He was such a little gift. He was so precious. He was really a gift from God.
Nigel's grandmother says they were planning his first birthday party next month. Now they're forced to plan his funeral. The man police say is responsible for that, 18-year-old Dominic Pinnick, the baby's mother's boyfriend of 8 months. He allegedly told investigators he got frustrated when Nigel wouldn't stop crying, so he hit his head on the wooden bedpost several times.
And it wasn't his time to go. It's not fair. It's not fair.
Both the baby's aunt, Taylor Matthews, and his grandmother say they got bad vibes from Pinnick and even vocalized that to his mother, but she loved and trusted him. In addition, they say he had been alone with Nigel before and seemed to truly care for him.
To be honest, my fear was he was going to harm my daughter. I never in a million years thought he would harm my grandson.
Nigel's family say they are leaning on one another to push through the tragedy and say while Nigel's birth brought this family together, his death is strengthening the bond even more.
I'm just praying for his soul. But, you know, justice will be served and vengeance will be mine, saith the Lord. So we're leaving it in God's hands.
The family will hold a private memorial service in the coming days and a public balloon release next month.
I just look at it as he was too good for this world. He didn't have to live it. He had a fast pass to heaven. And now we just got to do what we need to do to meet him there.
Pinnick is being held without bail in the Allegheny County Jail. He's due in court next week. Reporting outside of Pittsburgh Police Headquarters, Shelley Bortz, KDKA TV News.
Go ahead and take a look at this baby boy. A man is accused of beating this 10-month-old baby, and those allegations are disturbing. That baby was rushed to the hospital and died a short time later. Channel 11's Amy Hudak is at police headquarters where investigators say Dominic Pinnick initially lied to them.
Police say Pinnick initially told them the little boy fell off the bed and hit his head on a baby carrier, but he later admitted that he struck the child's head multiple times on a bedpost when the baby would not stop crying.
Take a walk. Take a shower. It's a baby. How could you hurt a child of any size? How could you do that?
This neighbor had tears welling up in the corners of her eyes as she talked about 10-month-old Nigel Matthews and how preventable his death was. 2 kid-sized motorized cars sit on the front lawn of this house in the city's Homewood neighborhood where he used to play. Next to the front steps, there's a stroller and car seat, reminders of a joyful 10-month-old baby boy who just next month would be turning 1. The family now planning his funeral. Pittsburgh police say this man, 18-year-old Dominic Pinnick, was watching Nigel Friday when the baby's mom went to pick up something to eat. In that short time frame, the baby was critically injured with a brain bleed, skull fracture, and injuries consistent with violent shaking. Investigators say Pinnick admitted, quote, after becoming frustrated that Doe wouldn't stop crying, Pinnick walked around the bedroom and hit the child's head approximately 3 or 4 times on the wooden canopy bedposts. Neighbors say they are sickened by what happened.
They cry because they need something, and they can't tell you what that is. Children are wonderful, and they should be protected and loved.
A judge denied bail for Pinnick, saying he's a flight risk. Reporting at Pittsburgh Police Headquarters, Amy Hudak, Channel 11 News.
And even that elder lady, y'all ever notice? I just thought about that, and shout out to that elder lady because she was being so real there, and she said that these babies can't tell you, and I say this all the time, they can't speak for themselves, nor can they defend themselves. They can't tell you what they want, and crying is all that they know. And I think that was very sweet of her to say that. Wise elder lady. Y'all ever notice how it ain't no men, no fathers, no dads, no grandfathers never around to do interviews, speak on behalf of these kids? It's very rare. It's very rare. I mean, maybe that's a black community thing. I really don't know. But it just seems like a lot of times we hear from a lot of women, a lot of mothers, and there's nothing wrong if they want to speak out, fine. But where are the fathers at? There's no balance. There is no balance. And again, I talk about that because even the dynamic of this little boy's life, he didn't have his biological father there in the house with his mom. He had to live and die through her boyfriend choice. This man was feared in the house that he probably lived in with her being pregnant. She probably was able to get a kid or get an apartment off some type of subsidized. Maybe she even lived with her mom. Who really knows? She might not even be able to get her own apartment yet. But if she was on Section 8 or food stamps or whatever the case is, the boyfriend usually can come in and take advantage of that, right? Because he doesn't have anything saved up or built up for himself. He did this because this little baby looks probably just like the man that the mother last laid with, which wasn't that long ago. That is impossible for these mindset of people to deal with, and they take it out on the kids. So the fact that they already knew that he was a danger, especially to the mom, and he was like, but I never thought he'd do that to the baby. If he was a danger to the mom, he's a danger to the baby. I just can't believe people at that level are stupid. If my daughter is in danger, then her kid would be in danger too, right? Maybe I'm just stupid. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this story. I'm going to get my favorite picture of him up here. Najur, young prince, R.I.P. Handsome young man. Could have grown up to become anything. Let me know what you guys think about this story in the comment section. Please let me know what you think, okay? Thank you.